Ready.
It says unmute there. Almost ready. All right, test, test. Yeah, there we go. All right, everyone, welcome inside the LPGA Drive on Championship Virtual Media Center. Once again, if there's any questions for Sophia on the Zoom, please let me know in the chat function of the call. But I am pleased to be joined with major champion Sophia Popov. Sophia, welcome to the third event of the year. How are you feeling as we embark on the third event of 2022?
Yeah, all in all, pretty good. I think the first two events have been pretty fun for me. I think after last year, I was pretty drained. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little burned out, and I took quite a bit of time off. I think I took 5 weeks off, not playing at all, because I really needed it. And so I got very excited about playing again the first 2 weeks at TOC and last week. And I think the first week, I think I'm starting to get into things again. Still not quite. I think my game's not quite where I want it to be, but it's definitely trending, and I'm seeing some good results here and there, and that gets me excited to play again this week.
What did you take away from the last 2 weeks that you want to bring into this week at Crown Colony?
Everything but the cold weather. No, like actually. No, I think my ball striking's been a lot better. I think if I can clean up my putting a little bit, that's definitely something that I've been working on a lot the last few days. I think that's the difference between shooting a really low score and just having been shooting like 2-3 under. So I think if I can clean up a few things here and there and get a little bit more comfortable with some of the shots that I'm hitting, I think overall I've kind of found my ball striking of about a year and a half ago again, and that's very promising for me. So like I said, just a few putting drills here that have helped me, and hopefully I can take that into this week.
That ball striking you talk about, you mean when you won the major championship, that kind of ball striking? And was it something that has clicked for you, you think, to kind of regain that confidence in your ball striking?
Yeah, definitely. I think I think that's always been my strength. I've always been someone that in general hits a lot of greens, and I would say doesn't have to rely that much on short game and putting. But with that being said, I think during the Open and before and just after that, I was putting really, really well, and I think I was working on it a lot, and I think I got a little bit away from that again and just heavily relying on that ball striking again. And now I'm kind of trying to focus back on that and go back to what made me play so well in that time span. And so I think I'm not neglecting the ball striking part, because it wasn't that great the second half of last year, but I think definitely just focusing on actually making putts and scoring is probably the most important thing for me right now.
We're in our fourth edition of the Drive On Championship. The first one, you weren't playing, you were a caddy. Now here we are, the fourth one. What does it feel like to be able to participate in an event like this that is very different from tournaments that we have week to week?
It's pretty cool. I think that we quite value it as players, to have another opportunity to play. I think we always not always, but as of the last few years, we've been coming off to a slow start for the season just because we're not going to Australia. So I think there's a big gap between tournaments, and to be able to have an event like this and have the support of the LPGA to say, what, we're gonna have 120 girls out there, and we're gonna put together a tournament this early in the season is really cool. And I think it's tied to some of the summits that we've been doing and being educated on some stuff. And I think that's been very cool. And it's a little bit of bonding for us players too. It's just us more or less out here, and I think we can just go out and have fun. And it's kind of also one of those things where we kind of can create our own little content for this week, which I think is awesome, and kind of display the tour from a different side that I think other people haven't seen yet.
I'll pass it off to Greg.
You will?
Yeah.
Okay. How does it feel to be so close to home again?
It feels great. Yeah, I live 45 minutes away, so it's been really nice to just sleep in my own bed and go home every night and just kind of forget about golf for a little bit. That's definitely an upside for this week.
What are your plans? Are you going to play in Singapore and Thailand?
I'm not. I'm actually going to take Singapore and Thailand off. It was for me, already looking at this year's schedule last year, I already decided for myself I need some bigger breaks. I didn't take the necessary breaks that I needed last year, and especially coming back from Asian events last year, I was pretty tired and drained, and as much as I love those events and I love the golf courses, playing last year, I think that for me, just from a mental and physical standpoint, I think it's the way to go, just to be fresh for the majors. I think that's been one thing that I want to focus on this year, that I kind of put on the back burner a little last year, was, you know, being ready and ready to go for the majors. Those are our most important tournaments every year, and obviously have the highest purses, and I think that's something that I want to focus on more this year.
What's it like having another competition that's not golf going on on site still?
With the ping pong?
With ping pong, yes.
It's pretty cool. I decided not to sign up. I think everyone that knows me knows I can't just go about 80%. I'm always like 130% when I either play ping pong or pickleball or something like that. So I'm nursing a little bit of an ankle injury, so I was told not to play this week by family members. So they said, you know, I know you can't just kind of go 50%, so you're gonna have to set this one out. But it's very, very cool. It's fun to watch, and I'm excited to see who wins.
We're going back to 2016, but you know, you and Madeline battled for the Epson tour at Cypress Lake. What do you remember, if anything, about that, or just the experience that you got on that tour that has helped you to this point?
Honestly, I think the experience that I had on the Epson tour, and I had a few years out there, I think was extremely valuable. I think learning how to travel by yourself, go from tournament to tournament, and be able to, play under pressure while doing your own thing and trying to find almost your little like routine that you like to do, I think is so important before you come out on the LPGA. I think when I got my LPGA card in 2015 straight out of college, obviously I had some health issues that I was battling, but I think it was tough to just come out here and know immediately what you're doing and being comfortable. I remember asking so many questions, and I think being on Epson Tour at least for a year is something that I think really helps players to develop and become more comfortable. And I see that with the players that are coming off that tour, the top 10 from last year, they're coming out here and they're playing well, and they're not scared, they're not afraid of being here, and they know what they're doing, and they know where to be and how to take care of themselves. And I think that's, I just think it's very valuable.
We talked a little bit about you being a resident of this area. I know you go back and forth between Arizona and here sometimes. What was the choice? And I know 45 minutes, but down here that can be a stretch of driving. Yeah. But what's it like being able to sleep in your own bed? Are you cooking every single night for you and your family that are here?
Yeah, so so it's basically just my husband and I that are here in Naples, and I think the nice thing, and my grandma's here, which is very nice. I get to spend quite a bit of time with her, and just coming home and seeing her every day is really nice, just to see what she's been doing and her day. It's very refreshing because it's very different to what my day looks like. And then I get to go home and I get to cook every night. I'm very, obviously, I put a lot of emphasis on my healthy diet, which is really, really important to me, because if I don't eat as clean as I do, then I get very tired at times and fatigued. So I think that's been very important for me to be conscious of where I'm staying every week, so that I can actually cook and prepare my own meals. And that's nice. When you're in your own kitchen, you know where everything is, and it's fully stocked. I think that's my favorite part.
Looking ahead for this week, have you played a couple holes out there? Have you gone through a practice round? What do you think of Crown Colony as you've gotten ready for the Drive On Championship?
Yeah, I'm very pleasantly surprised. I didn't know the golf course. I heard from other members down where I play in Naples that it's a very good golf course. And I came here, and yesterday I played the back nine. I played the front nine on Monday, and especially I'm pretty excited about the back nine. I think it's really a great looking golf course. Very fun to play. It's difficult. It's narrow at times, and it's just a really nice, I think, design. So I think, and it's in very good shape. Really good greens, around the greens, very nice. So I'm actually pretty excited to get out there, hopefully in slightly less windy conditions.
Yes, this past couple events, and also as you look ahead to the stretch that you have, are you testing any new equipment? Are you thinking about any changes, and have you made any changes?
That's another thing. If you know me, you know there's likely a club in my bag that's at least 2 to 3 years old. I don't like to make very many changes. I haven't made that many. I still have the same irons, the same putter. I did put a new driver in the bag. But I think that that's another reason why I decided not to play Singapore and Thailand, is I felt like my off season wasn't long enough after our CME Tour Championships. So I wanted to give myself that 6-week block that we have to actually try out some new equipment, kind of see if there's anything that I want to replace in the bag. I think most of the stuff I have I really like, and it's always hard for me to justify changing anything, especially when I feel like I'm playing well. But yeah, I think this is the last week I'm going to play probably with the setup I have right now, and then I'm going to dive into that a little bit the next 2 to 3 weeks.
For me, I'll just wrap it up with this. Last night we saw episode 2 of LPGA All Access CME Group Tour Championship, which is a new initiative we did, the Inside the Look of the docuseries. You were featured on the pickleball court, as you mentioned earlier. You were quite a competitor, but you also said you feel that sometimes your pickleball game is sometimes better than the golf game. Have you watched last night's episode, and what was that experience like, and being able to watch that back and see something like that come to fruition?
Yeah. I think actually it's, I just think it's a very cool initiative, just to showcase what we do off the golf course. Pickleball is something that I love to do a lot, so that is fully me right there. 100% the competitiveness also. I actually try to tone it down a little bit for that video. Amy said to me, she's like, okay, just be you, but maybe not that intense. And I'm like, okay, I'll try. But I am going to try to win. And she's like, absolutely. So I think Amy and I, that's something that we've bonded over pickleball. We love it a lot. Playing with Larry Fitzgerald two weeks ago, he's saying he's really into pickleball. So that's been pretty cool. I think it's just a growing, I think it's the fastest growing sport in the U.S. right now. So it's just something fun to do outside of golf, and it's so different. And I grew up playing 3 or 4 different sports, and tennis being one of them. So it kind of brings me back to my roots a little bit and to that athletic side of myself. I think sometimes being out here and playing golf and being on the golf course all day makes you kind of grind out on the technical part of golf and just trying to be perfect. And I think I'm not alone in saying, you know, sometimes you look around and you compare and you forget who you are and your unique swing and what makes you as good as you are. And I think for me, it's that athletic side of myself. And, you know, my husband Max always trying to tell me is like, swing more athletically, like the way you are. And I think pickleball actually brings that out for me, because just the speed and the reaction and all that stuff just helps me a lot. So I think it's fun to show a feature like that, because that's truly what we do off the golf course. And it's something that takes your mind off at the same time, whether you're playing good or bad. So that's kind of been nice.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Sophia. Best of luck this week.
Thank you.